Disney's live-action remakes have lost a lot of the magic of the originals.
And as an Erhuist, I've noticed the same is true of Disney's music.
So in this project, I want to use the Erhu to take an unconventional crack at rediscovering Disney's musical magic. This decision took me from Disney classics to Avatar: The Last Airbender to
Even Taoist principles.
So in the next 12 minutes, will I be able to rekindle Disney magic with an Erhu? Let's wish upon a star and find out.
First of all, I needed a plan of attack, a way to perform an autopsy on an instance of extinguished Disney magic. I would first need to find a pair of original and live-action versions of the same song. Then, once I analyze both versions of the sung melody on the Erhu, I'll be able to take my new understanding and apply it to a different Disney song to really see if this approach can actually rekindle that Disney childhood spark. It took a bit of nostalgic wandering, but I eventually ended up with a great pair of original and live-action songs. I remember as a kid bawling my eyes out at Dumbo being cradled by his caged mother singing Baby Mine, but show me the remake of that song and...
Baby mine, dry your eyes.
It just does not hit with the level of emotion that it should. Don't get me wrong, the singer reaches all the pitches and everything just fine, but a quick listen between the two, and something about it got my Erhu senses tingling. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, why use specifically an Erhu? And for that, allow me to demonstrate. The big thing about the Erhu is that it's mainly known for sounding like a human voice. Which meant that, assuming I was skilled enough, I could use the Erhu to reproduce the performative differences between the two versions of the sung melody. But that sounds hard. And whenever something's hard, that means... Oh, wait, I need the Erhu for this.
Alrighty, score is translated and now it's set to go. Let's dive right in. No, it's not even that. That's it?
Yeah, that was it. But to explain why that was such a huge surprise to me, let's head over to the whiteboard.
Okay, so take a look at this. What I've done here is imported the two versions of Baby Mine into Audacity, so we can take a closer look at when certain notes begin and end. At first, the two versions seem more or less the same. There's a bit of a slowdown here in the original, but then... Wait, the original version of Baby Mine, the one that's supposed to be sadder, sped up. And as I thought about it more, I realized this is something I as an Erhuist should have suspected from the very first listen. One of the biggest misconceptions I had to break when learning the Erhu, especially Erhu classics, was the idea that in order to be sad, you had to play constantly, slowly, or quietly. It's kind of like the misconception in horror that in order to be scary, all you need is a sudden jump scare. For example, this is an Erhu classic that I recently got the chance to learn called Du Xiancao, or The Song of a Worried Heart. This is the full score, and this is all the different places where I had to do things like speeding up, crescendoing, adding more intensity, doing things that add contrast against the backbone of sadness.
It's easiest to see something when it's up against a contrasting background, so having these sorts of higher energy bits in an otherwise sad song allows for the sadness to show through much more than pure melodramatic sadness on its own. And because of that, having this speed up here in Baby Mine is, in my Erhuist mind, far from some fluke or mistake. Rather, it's something that you need in order to have contrast with the rest of the melody so you can feel that deep melancholy even more. Without that contrast, well, we get the live-action version. Yes, it maintains a consistent sad, slow tempo, but because of that, there's almost no reference point to subconsciously figure out how sad this tempo should be. So contrast is good and all, but at the beginning of this I promised Avatar: The Last Airbender, and to get there, we're gonna have to talk about this.
Okay, I think I got it. Take a listen to this. I'm exaggerating the differences a bit, but I think I found what's missing, or at least the Erhu version of what's missing. I know it as Dantian. A physicist or engineer might see it as center of gravity, but if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you actually know this as redirecting lightning.
If you let the energy in your own body flow, the lightning will follow it. You must create a pathway from your fingertips, up your arm to your shoulder, then down into your stomach. The stomach is the source of energy in your body. It is called the Sea of Qi.
Unsurprisingly, the wisdom of Uncle Iroh does not stop at redirecting lightning, and while he might not say it word for word, the idea of using your stomach region as a conduit of energy is something that is very, very similar to what I've learned as an Erhuist with Dantian. Better yet, after doing some research for this project, I've learned that Dantian has a bit of a magical origin too.
Dantian is a term that comes from Taoist principles. It can refer to one of 3 specific points on the body, and for us we're looking at Xia Dantian or lower Dantian. This point is located in the abdominal area and is said to include a bunch of important acupoints, including one actually called the Sea of Qi. Even more fascinating, just look at a depiction of Dantian versus what we know now as the human body's center of gravity. Those Taoists knew their stuff.
When it comes to using Dantian specifically for Erhu, you have to relax your wrist, arms, shoulders, everything between your bow and your Dantian. Without Dantian, you can still play loud, but it won't have that same richness as playing with Dantian.
So now, what can we do with this? Well, I have my hypothesis on why Disney music has lost its magic, and the given data seems to agree with that reasoning, but now we have to make some sort of testable prediction. And for that, I think there's no better testing ground than the Disney anthem itself. When You Wish Upon a Star. Not only is this probably the fountain of Disney magic, but the movie with the song Pinocchio has also recently gotten the live-action treatment, and as sadly expected, the Disney remake did not capture that magical feeling for many. So can I use this contrast and Dantian to make an Erhu cover to rival the live-action version of When You Wish Upon a Star? Only one way to find out. Do the theme music! Let's try drop tuning, I guess? That's acceptable. So, now that my attempt at Disney's national anthem is out there, what do you all think? Obviously, using an Erhu instead of singing is a huge change in experimental variables, but even then I would love to hear your thoughts on how an emphasis on contrast and dantian changed the end result for you. If you have any experience with singing, also feel free to share what you think the singer's equivalent of dantian might be. For me personally, I think I did feel a bigger spark of that Disney magic while playing this final cover. Looking back at the original, something about how Cliff Edwards sang that song gave it a deeper richness in my mind, a sort of cherished yearning feeling that didn't feel the need to be a loud proclamation or a quiet whisper. Not loudly in your face, nor too timid to express itself. A bit like how Disney magic felt to me as a kid. Either way, I hope I was able to give you a bit of Erhu-infused Disney spark. If you enjoyed this bit of Erhu goodness and want more, I'll put a link here to another project where I tried to tackle expressing existential dread on the Erhu. With that, thanks for tagging along on this adventure, and I hope you're well, wherever you are. Bye!
When you wish upon a star, when you...
Okay, I am not a singer.
When you...